The entrepreneur and the martial artist must really truly be kindred spirits, or either that or martial arts is an entrepreneurial activity. I haven't decided yet. But I do know a lot of martial arts school owners are entrepreneurs. So perhaps the process of getting a black belt in one or more disciplines is an entrepreneurial activity. And I'm saying all this because I came across a great article. The article is called 7 Choices Every Entrepreneur Must Make. I'm going to put a link to that in the description. But there are also, these 7 choices are also 7 choices you have to make once you put yourself on the path to becoming a lifelong martial artist, or at least achieving a black belt in something. So the first one is not truly living. That means you have to choose to live. If you're sitting around, and I was this guy, if you're sitting around watching Karate Kid reruns, you could be doing karate instead of just sitting around learning karate, or sitting around watching Best of the Best, watching them compete overseas in Taekwondo tournaments in Korea. You could be doing that instead of watching actors pretend to be what you would really be doing. And you know, the thing that really nudged me into it, comedian, whoever made this joke, it was a Pat, I don't know if Pat Morita wrote the joke, but he had him say it. They were going through his Karate Kid scene. This is back in like the late 90s. And then Miyagi turns to the camera and says, "Oh, come on, stop watching this thing. You've watched this thing so many times, you could be a black belt by now." And I thought it was funny, but I was like, that's true. I've been watching this stuff so much, I could be a black belt by now. So I eventually became one. You can even do that even if you're working. Which leads to the second point. Not creating big goals and chasing your dreams. We all got to work. Those of us who are not independently wealthy. Really, those of us who are independently wealthy have to work too. They just work smarter. Sometimes they work harder, but they definitely get a bigger payoff. If you want to get a black belt in something to just become as best at the martial arts as you can be, you've got to set goals. You've got to structure your time and the goals, and you have to achieve them. That's one thing I think is really valuable about the process of getting a black belt. Getting the first degree black belt is broken up into different goals. You have your white belt, yellow belt, orange belt, green belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, red belt, black belt levels. You start off at the lower levels, and then you go up, and it gets more difficult. And it breaks up your goals. You have to do these little easy things, then you do a little harder things, then you do a little harder things. It's perfect for goal setting. Those of us who are, software testers, we're giving goals all the time. If you have, especially like if you have a long, in Agile you call them sprints. But if you have a long testing cycle, and you want to find all the defects, and it's a cumbersome product, don't you have to, I say I'm going to go through this feature today, that feature tomorrow, that part today, that part tomorrow. I want to get through X amount of requirements. I want to get through Y amount of test cases. That was when I was independent. Now, someone else tells me, hey, you got to get through this. You want to do this amount of test cases. You want to get through all that. So that's goal setting. Goal setting is how you're going to get to be excellent in the martial arts when you have to have a day job. And even when you no longer have to have a day job, you're still going to have to set goals in order to be excellent in martial art. Simple goal is, what style do you want to study? What degree black belt do you want to get in that style? Or if you create your own style, what do you want your style to be like? What do you want to include in your style? How are you going to go about learning it? Now this next one, this is number 3. Accumulating too much stuff. I'm not going to show you the bottom of my closet. It's got a lot of stuff. We can accumulate too much stuff physically and mentally. Physically, we can spend more time trying to get the house that we can't afford, the car we can't afford, a whole bunch of clothes, and never set aside enough money to go pay for lessons. Mentally, we accumulate a lot of stuff as martial artists. If we keep accumulating every slight from every past instructor that we didn't like that we have, or classmate, or, even, I know a lot of people take martial arts because we're driven by bullying. So we can accumulate that stuff we got from the bullies. that fear, the insecurities that we got from that stuff in the past, man, you got to let that go. Let it go. And there's stuff, see my hand I'm doing like this, that people put in your ear when you want to study martial arts. They'll tell you you're too old, you don't have time. How can you do that and go to work? Ignore that stuff. Don't accumulate that stuff. Wash it away and move forward towards your goal. Letting envy sidetrack you. You know, not everybody had Chuck Norris as a daddy and could start training when they were 2 years old, okay? Or heck, me for that matter. Yeah, I'm bragging, but I know that my 2 most senior students are the bomb. That's because they live with their instructor. But not everybody has that. Not everybody needs that. I certainly didn't have it. But that's something that people could envy. They can envy, oh my gosh, she gets to study with Grandmaster so-and-so, or, well, she's from X country where the martial arts just reigns in the air. So, of course, she's good at it. Stop envying people. Some people are taller than you. Some people are smaller than you. Some people are faster or slower. Some people have genetic gifts that you don't. Just accept it. Don't envy them. You do you, and you continue on your martial arts path. And that, see, 4 and 5 here really link together to me, because you also have constantly comparing yourselves to others. That's number 5. But in addition to the ways I specified in number 4, we talk about comparing ourselves to others, this is where I think you should compare yourself to others. You should compare yourself to people who are doing what you want to do. And this isn't just an entrepreneurship tip. This is a good life tip, period, especially works out from the martial arts. One thing I did is I compared myself to at least 2 people. And I will name drop. One I know and one I don't. I compared myself to Anderson Silva and I compared myself to George Dillman. I read their bios and I looked at what they achieved. And some of that stuff I was like, oh, I can't do that. But some of the stuff I was like, no, I bet you I could do that. So I looked at the rankings and things that they had, and I tried to get myself to be as close to that as possible. Another thing where you can compare yourself to others in a good way is look at the people who are like at your level of functioning in the martial art. It may not necessarily be rank, just in terms of like influence. Like I compare to how one of my qualifications compared to a lot of other rec center instructors. And one thing I've noticed is these days, it seems like your master instructors or head instructors, if they're not really high ranked, they have a black belt in a complementary discipline. And I think that's because of the influence of MMA. So in that sense, if you compare yourselves to others, like people studying other styles, and look at what their style may emphasize that you don't, that can be a good way for you to address your weaknesses. So that's one thing where comparing yourself to others would be good. I think that would just like be like the entrepreneurial thing of studying the competition. So, number 6 I already alluded to earlier with this. Letting negative people hold you back. Stop listening to people who say you shouldn't study this, you shouldn't study that, because it's garbage, because it's weak, because it's blah, because it's that, it's bad. It's not bad. If you want to study it, study it. And there also will be people who will try to hold you back from creating your own style if you want to create your own style. Why would you need to do that? We don't need more styles. Yes, we do. We need as many styles as we can, because styles come and go, or they just change names. There's really only one style anyway, the style of fighting another person. And you get specific, do I want to do it with my hands or my feet? Or my hands and feet, or my knees and elbows and my hands? Or do I want to grab them? Do I want to choke them? Or maybe I just want to hit them with a stick, or I want to cut them with a knife, or I want to shoot at them. These are all styles. Or I want to hit them with a stick and kick them, but I don't want to punch them. You know what I mean? There are people that will tell you that you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do this. Or just like the people who feel like, for example, oh, what you're learning is not real because it's not full contact. What you're learning is not real because it doesn't have forms. What you're learning is not real because your lineage doesn't line up with whatever. What you're learning is not real because you're not in a big federation. What you're learning is not real because you are in a big federation. Ignore all that. If what you're learning meets your needs, or what you are creating meets your needs, you continue onward and you don't let negative people hold you back. And number 7, point that they made in that article, they call starting tomorrow. It's just the big P. What's the big P? Is it prosperity? It's procrastination. I used to take Taekwondo. I'll come back tomorrow. That judo looks interesting, but I'm going to do it. This starting tomorrow. I still struggle with this because I've been saying I wanted to study Aikido for like 20 years now, and I still haven't gotten to Aikido. So I'm putting myself out there right now. But it hasn't all been my fault, but still. But I have studied something. I've studied a bunch of other stuff. So I'm right in there with you. But we got to stop this starting tomorrow. You can come to one of my classes and just start. And people call me up. I get this. I get at least 2 or 3 of these phone calls a month. You can tell how old I am because I'm doing this instead of just this when I'm symbolizing phone. I'm giving away my age. Yes. No, you don't have to wait until the end of the session to come in. You don't have to, no. Yes, your child can start anytime. It's not just a one-time thing that can come through. You can sign up too, if you're interested. Yes, you can. And this is another thing. This is kind of a tangent, and then I'm going to stop. Starting tomorrow. It is kind of on the starting tomorrow. Just because you look in like my class that I say is all ages and you don't see an adult there that day, that doesn't mean that I don't teach adults. If I say I teach adults, I teach adults. Where is the adult class? This is the adult class. See, this is the adult class. So you think you so bad that you can't learn anything because you don't want to feel silly. You don't want to be the old man around a bunch of little kids. Who am I going to work out with? You can work out with me. If I can't accommodate you, I will flat up tell you I cannot accommodate you. Okay? There are weapons that I don't teach because I don't know very many weapons. I don't have weapons in my curriculum until you get up to like 9th or 10th degree. And I tell people, if you really want to learn weapons, you want us to get weapons in here, practice the empty hand stuff that I teach you. Get ahead of where you should be so then I can bring in weapons. Don't use that as an excuse. Because you know what? Tomorrow is only a day away, but sometimes that day may not come. Or when tomorrow comes, something else fills it up, something else fills it up, and 20 years can go by, and you still haven't achieved what you wanted to achieve, especially in the martial arts. So, again, I'm thinking the entrepreneur and the martial artist are just kindred spirits. So, take a look at 7 choices every entrepreneur must make. I've used that to create 7 choices every martial artist must make because they dovetail so well. Peace.